Hey everybody, this is your friend Alan Stone, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Finally hanging out with this guy right here. I saw you at the festival at Arroyo Seco, and I was
Oh.
like trying to figure out who your contact was because I've been wanting to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
Alan, dude, how are you, man?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great, dude. I'm great. I'm excited to finally talk to you. Let's talk music. Let's talk about everything about you because you're kind of a big deal. I don't know if you know that.
No. I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't think
You
that
don't feel that way.
that I would be filed under big deal.
Well, I guess we'll have to find out
Okay.
sooner or later. But before we talk about your new music, what was it about Stevie Wonder that really got you so interested in his music and interested in this music industry?
Well, it didn't get me interested in the music industry, that's for sure. It got me interested in just emulating the way that he sounded. When I first heard, looking back on when I was a little nappy-headed boy, there was just there was a color in his voice, his music was just infectious, and it totally drew me in and made me. I just got lost in not only his music, but like kind of that era of soul and R&B in general. Donny
Right.
Hathaway, Aretha, Sly and the Family Stone, the Meters, even like James Taylor from that era, the Beatles, like that
Right.
era of music, 60s and 70s pop music. I think that was like the golden era of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you're starting to write your music, you're learning to sing. Singing in that kind of genre or that style of music, I don't think is easy at all. I think that's like one of the hardest vocalizations to do. So how did you kind of learn to sing that way, and how did you train your voice to sing that the way that you do?
Just singing to the records.
Yeah.
I never had any vocal training. Well, I mean, I grew up singing, so my folks sing.
Right.
And my family sings. So I had an ear. I think I was probably born with an ear for pitch, but just singing along to the records really was how I learned how to sing. Just
Right.
emulating different characteristics of the voices that I was hearing.
Right.
I've always kind of had a knack for impressions too.
Okay.
Or at least I always found it fun to do impressions. So that might have helped a little bit too, just like mimicking certain sounds and hearing a sound and being able to mimic it in my own way.
Right.
But yeah, I've never had a voice lesson. What? I've had like maintenance voice lesson. Like this is how when you sing, 200 shows a year. This is how
That's how you take care of it.
This is how you take care of it. I've had those, but never like properly taught how to sing. So I could be doing it all totally wrong, but
You're still trying to figure that out.
still trying to figure it out. Yeah.
So now as we move forward, you're getting ready for a new record, something that fans have been excited about. You've been releasing a couple tracks throughout the year. You're about to release a new one, Taste of You, again featuring Jamie. Is it Lidell or Lidell?
Lidell, yeah.
Lidell. So Jamie Lidell, and you guys collaborated with the Warriors as well, and I love that collaboration that you guys did.
Thank
so tell me a little bit about Taste of You. I was listening on the way here actually, and I really like this track.
Oh, really?
It's like so upbeat. It's just incredible. But take me into the studio of creating that song with Jamie.
Well, I got asked to do an Aretha Franklin tribute at Carnegie Hall in, would it have been 2 years ago? It might have been 2 years ago. And I got to sing, Say a Little Prayer for You. And so Jamie and I were in the studio writing, and I was kind of just picking through that song because I had just performed it at Carnegie. And inspired by Leanne LaHavis. Leanne LaHavis does Say a Little Prayer. So good. I saw her do it. I think was it in Brussels? We did a festival with her, and she's amazing. So I kind of copied her version of it a little bit, and shout out to Leanne. I was picking through it, and Jamie's like, that's the definition of a beautiful pop song right there. Like, what is she doing in that song? How can we emulate that song? So we just wrote a song that we felt would feel similar to that song,
Right.
As far as the emotion and the changes and the joy of it. and yeah, Taste of You was what came out. Part of me loves to visualize singing that song to like a beautiful like steak. And then another part of me
Was not expecting that one.
well, if you listen to the lyrics, you could sing it to like a beautiful like truffle mac and cheese, you know?
Well, yeah, I guess the title track, yeah, or the title of the song.
Yeah. But you could also sing it to like a romantic partner as well.
Right. Right. So this is the second time that you guys kind of collaborate. He's been producing some stuff with you as well. So, you know, how does he kind of challenge you in the studio when you guys are in there creating the stuff that you guys are working on?
Well, on this, I'm like such a fan of Jamie that I really like just got in the passenger seat and let him drive the thing.
Right.
He's in my opinion, he is one of the most unsung heroes of music. Like his voice, his records, his ability in the studio is incredible.
Right.
And it's leagues above what R&B is putting out. And so I just, like I said, sat in the back seat and was like, dude, I want to just soak in all of your greatness, Jamie. And yeah, the collaboration was fun. We worked for months together.
Yeah.
And I think we got about 25 songs that we did and we finished together, and it was a blast, man. He's such a good human and such a positive force in the studio.
Right. Now, is he the main producer for this upcoming record?
Yeah. Yes, he is. Okay. Yeah.
So, you know, you don't have a release date, you don't have a title for the record yet, but what can we expect with this record? Where does this record kind of takes us?
Well, it's live.
Nice. Okay.
And my band's on it. Well, some of it's live. We did about 20 songs in the studio in Nashville with me and my band. The live band that has been playing with me for like 5 years. That's a thing that I don't think you can recreate.
Right.
Is like just playing with people. Computers like tend to bridge those gaps because music is just really all math, and computers are really good at math, and so you get tracks that sound like perfect.
Right.
But as a music lover and a music listener, maybe I'm just too deep into it, and like I've seen behind the veil of the music industry. The computer thing doesn't do it for me. It just tends to sound plastic. It tends to...
It's away the emotion in a way.
I feel like it does. I feel like having a live drummer versus having like programmed drums. Right. They both serve a purpose, and I understand them, but I always enjoy hearing like real live musicianship on records. So we did that for about 15 or 16 of the songs. Okay. There's 3 or 4 of them in there that are more on the production side of things, in the box computer, sequence drums and all that. Right. But the stuff that we produce live with the band is really special, I think, because specifically for my audience, we're road dogs. That's how we make a living. I don't sell records. I don't make money off streaming. So the way that our fan base supports us is by coming to shows. And I think that's how they really enjoy seeing the music as well, as seeing it real and live and no tracks and pure. So this record is that. It's my band live in the studio playing songs we wrote together.
Right. I like that. And as far as like the songwriting, where do you see, or how do you see your songwriting has evolved on this record?
Well, I've approached it with a lot more joy on this go around. My last record was pretty arduous. And I was, searching a lot and growing a lot on my last record and trying to figure out who I was and where I fit and how do I keep people's attention. Right. And this record, I've grown. I feel like I've landed on that growth plateau where I feel a lot more comfortable in who I am and being myself and not trying to conform to like the sexy R&B or the the trolling world of the internet, but just being like a positive force in the world,
right.
Writing music that is pure to me and is honest, and being okay with that, believing that there are people out there who are in need of that type of music and that type of artistry,
Right.
That honest music that's not based around confetti.
Okay, I get that.
If that makes any sense.
Now you're mentioning the last record was a lot of you kind of discovering, searching for yourself. Like, do you feel like once that record was finished, do you feel like you got to where you wanted to with that record?
Oh, I love that record, and I love the way it sounds. I love the production of it. We worked really hard on that, me and specifically Tingsek, who produced it. It's I think it's a beautiful piece of work and great piece of music. And yeah, I learned a lot. You're constantly learning when you're doing any craft. You should be, and that's the joy of it, is that you go out every day with your best foot forward and you try to learn from every night. What happened tonight that like didn't feel right? Okay, I said this this didn't feel right, and then you improve on it.
Right.
And that's life, not just art, but like how you live.
Right.
And so yeah, I think I did learn great amounts from that record and the experience I had with it.
Now back to this upcoming record. Where do you feel you were challenged with this when creating this record?
Well, yeah, this one was there were parts that were very challenging. When you're writing music or when you're being creative, sometimes you can get in your head and it becomes a task. It becomes work.
Right.
And the goal is the mindfulness of attempting to try and realize and take joy in what you're getting to do, which is like create sounds and like organize. Simply what we do is just organize sounds and different frequencies and try to make them sound nice enough for people to like give us their hard-earned money to or like patronize our business.
Right.
And that's crazy. That's like really amazing that we get the opportunity in 2018 to be sound organizers, really. But sometimes it can be really hard to like remember that. And it was probably about right around the time I wrote Warriors, actually. I wrote a song with Joey Dosick and Theo Katzman. They're LA cats.
Okay.
Probably most notable from a band called Wolfpack.
Okay.
We wrote a song in my living room called Chipping Away. And it's about just like putting in the work and, just every day getting up and like doing the thing. Right. And doing it the best you possibly can through whatever cloud of resistance you're working with. And it was right around that time that I wrote Warriors as well, which is kind of like just go, just do it, just get up and stay focused, and no matter how you're feeling, you can do great things.
Right.
And
it's your anthem.
Yeah, it's your anthem. If you put in the work, good things can come. And I'm not really sure if that answers your question, but that's kind of that was the moment in the record that seemed like an uphill battle that was actually, in hindsight, like a really great thing.
It ended up being a great opportunity.
Yeah, totally.
Now, in the past, you've been able to write with Andy Grammer.
Yeah.
What did a session like that kind of teach you as far as your writing goes?
Well, Andy's a spectacular songwriter, an incredible positive force. I've known Andy for, when did I meet Andy? It was probably 12 years ago. I think we wrote a song on my self-titled album called Your Eyes. Yeah, I think Andy's ability to find melody is really fun.
Incredible.
It's a really beautiful thing. I can't think of another songwriter that, every songwriter has their different like the thing that they go to.
Right.
I kind of go towards the same thing because I learned the same way. Andy manages to like pull from all of these different sources. He's got the soul source, and he's got the hip hop source, and he's got the like James Taylor singer-songwriter source.
Right.
And he was able to bring some really fun melodic changes to that songwriting session and to his own music. His own music is beautiful all over the place. There's like what seems like straight ahead pop folk kind of almost, and then there's like total soul R&B bangers, and there's some hip hop infused in there.
No boundaries whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no boundaries with Andy.
Did that kind of like help you kind of when you're songwriting? Do you ever go back to those kind of sessions? Like, do you think about stuff that you've learned from him, like for that?
Sure. Yeah, you always pull from things you learn. Like same idea that every day is a process of kind of pushing forward and bringing the things that you've learned along the way and improving on them.
Now, one thing that I find cool with artists is that they can write so many records, so many singles, but they never use the same wording twice. So I'm sure that's a challenge in itself. Like, have you come across times when you're writing a new song and you're like, wait a minute, like I've written something like this before, like, and if so, like, how do you kind of deal with that?
Sure. Yeah, you just abandon it. Yeah, you kind of know right away, like, no, this feels really close to like this song that I've done, and you don't want to. I mean, maybe you do. I don't think there's any rules, but when I've been approached by that obstacle, I kind of put the pen down and start over.
Right. Makes sense. Now, as far as this record, do you have like a date? I know it's for 2019. Do you have like a date in mind already?
Yeah, we're thinking June.
Okay.
June is the time frame that we're thinking of, but not set in stone. Right. So I apologize for any fans who are watching this. We don't have a set time frame yet, but it'll be out soon, I promise. And Taste of You, the new single, will be out shortly. Yeah. It's out today.
It's out today.
Listen to it.
He's on tour, so he doesn't know what day we're on.
Yeah, what is this? Saturday?
Exactly. That is exactly the day. Now, you've done a little, like a series. Well, I think it was just one that you did on YouTube, Invasion of Privacy.
Yeah,
that you did. And I watched it, and it's kind of cool. Like, okay. I was hoping there was more to watch, but do you plan on doing any more of those? He was in the shower before this interview happened, so I was kind of tempted to do an Invasion of Privacy for this interview.
That would have been hilarious. Well, what's funny about that is it wasn't initially intended to be anything other than like a promo for Ryan's house, because Ryan's been trying to sell that house for a while.
Right.
And Ryan's brilliant, man. I mean, he's just a wealth of creativity, and not only creativity, there's people who are creative, and then there's people like Ryan who are creative, and then they have the ability to take their creativity and like expand on it and actually see it to the finish line. And from that process, I'd worked with Ryan before on the Macklemore and Ryan Lewis Heist record. Right. And we were all really young. I think Ryan's younger than me. So Ryan, I'm 31. I think Ryan's like not even 30 yet. He must have been 24 when we were doing that record, and you could kind of just see it in him then. This ability to make everything that he touched look varsity. Yeah. That was one thing he told. Like him and Mac always told me, like, you gotta figure out a way to make it look varsity, because they were doing it all from, like, I swear to you, the studio that they cut one of the highest selling records in the last 20 years, the studio that they cut it from was a closet. It was a closet. I'm sorry, Ryan and Mac, if I'm blowing up your spot, but it was a closet. It was like, it was on Highway 99. I remember going there and cutting the song. And it was a little room. It was like half the size of this with a little closet vocal booth. And they made all of those songs out of there. And came up with the video concepts on their own, shot the video concepts on their own. Ryan learned how to like color grade and edit and like their Ryan and Mac's ability to take an idea and bring it to the finish line and make it look professional and varsity is uncanny. I can't like that was what I really learned from that experience. Ryan called me. He's like, "Hey, I got this idea to do this invasion of privacy thing, and it's kind of like Cribs, but also kind of like punked." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, whatever you want to do."
There should be more of that.
We tried to sell it. We're attempting to try and land it on a network. We had meetings with Comedy Central, Vice,
So cool.
Fuse, and they all turned it down. Man. Unfortunately, but.
You're meant to do things independently. That's the way.
No, dude, I'm trying to get that big cable network dollar. But yeah, shout out to Ryan, man. You're a stud, bud. You're a total stud.
You're varsity.
You're a varsity.
There we go.
You're the coach of the varsity squad.
Now to close us off, do you still feel like you struggle with Contact High?
Yeah, of course. I was on my phone earlier when you got it.
It's worse now with 2018.
Yeah, it's worse. Worse now than it's ever been. I balance it with like breathing and some meditation and a little bit of yoga and some mindfulness. So I'm a little bit more balanced than I was when I wrote that song.
Right.
But for sure, dude, we have these things. These phones are we're used to them.
Yeah, it's taking over.
But they are absurd.
I agree.
Like, I could get anything I want in my life. If I had the money, I could open up that phone and I could buy it and have it delivered here in 2 days. It's absurd.
Or now. You never know.
Because you can buy a house on that thing. Like, literally, without moving my meat from this seat, I could buy a house on that phone. It's insane.
It is insane.
We live in the future, and we live better than any kings of any history. And but like we still manage to complain at each other.
Right.
We're
all complaining.
we kind of all complain. It's just like the ego's way of attempting to survive.
Right. Well, dude, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm glad this finally happened. My hands are a little sweaty. I'm sorry.
Appreciate you.
You guys be sure to check out Alan Stone. New single is out now. It's called
Taste of You.
Yeah, and it features Jamie
Lidell.
Thanks for watching on Front Row Live.
Love y'all.